my name's Nick Ogden. I guess I'm an entrepreneur, for want of a better description. I've founded a few things, invented e-commerce, founded WorldPay, founded Cash Flows, founded ClearBank, and now founded RTGS. Just having fun, regular guy.
You're having fun, enjoying things that you do. That's all what we want to see. So could you tell us actually what inspired you to build ClearBank?
It was, I guess I've got a knack of sort of seeing ways that markets can change and ways of doing things differently. And the problem in the UK was that we had a number, CMA 9, of incumbent banks, all who were stuck with legacy systems, legacy architecture and all the rest of it, and a market that was demanding access to payment systems. And those two things were just rubbing against each other, not working. And so I met with a lady called Mary Stark, who was the interim payment service regulator in 2014, at a conference, having a cup of coffee with her and some colleagues from the Treasury. And I said to her, why doesn't the UK have a new clearing bank? It strikes me that the only way we're going to change the market dynamics is by doing something brand new, in exactly the same way as Aldi and Lidl came into the UK grocery marketplace and upset that marketplace. The only way to create change is to make change, and my expectation is that the reason why we haven't had a new clearing bank is that there's a regulatory or political reason behind it. And so she said, that's very interesting. I'll take that thought away and get back to you. And she did.
Well, that's a really interesting story. Actually, it's interesting to know that this idea was conceived over a cup of coffee rather than a glass of wine or a beer. So you shared this story behind it, and it's really exciting. So a lot of people, and we know that it's the first clearing bank in 250 years in the UK, which is pretty historic, so another historic moment. So where is the market for ClearBank?
ClearBank's completely different. We are the only bank, bar the Bank of England, that holds all of its customer deposits whole. What that means is that if all of our customers are all regulated businesses, all decide they want all their money back, they can all have it back at the same moment in time. That isn't the way banking normally works. And the reason why we did that is a conscious decision that I took when I was setting the bank up, was we wanted to make sure that what we created was at no risk to our customers. So we weren't basically taking our customer deposits in and then re-lending them and doing what's known as NIM banking. So we were completely transformational. The second thing that we've done is that we're completely independent, i.e. we don't compete in our own markets, because we felt that part of the reason why the market had been held back was because of the issue of, I'll give you an example, there were 44 building societies in the UK in 2014. 39 of them did not offer a current account products to their customers because they couldn't afford to. It was more complex, and so their customers relied upon banks for their transactional banking. That's nuts, because if you want to go and get a mortgage or a house extension loan or something, the first thing you're going to be asked to do is to prove your ability to repay the loan. And so if the bank, if the building society does not have track record of your transactional banking, you go home, press P for print all the statements out and give them to them. It's ridiculous. So what we wanted to do was create a complete new change in the marketplace and allow new entrants, new market opportunities to emerge, and that's what we are succeeding in doing. And there's nearly 300 people working for ClearBank, like 150 metres from here tonight.
So what kind of opportunities does it offer to ClearBank?
I think that the term open banking is probably not the best term that was ever came up with. If you go and do a straw poll, if everybody in here tonight went to a pub and went into the pub and said to people they know, can you tell me what open banking means? Most people will turn around and say, that means the banks are going to open on Saturday. And the irony is that's actually what a lot of people want to have happen. Open banking was a concept that came out of changes that the European Union started in 2005, and the intention really was to create choice within the marketplace. The choice is starting to grow, but the consumer demand to change has still not been fired up. I think we're starting to see those changes in the business marketplace slowly, but many businesses and many consumers, whilst they're using the new digital alternatives, are still relying upon the CMA 9 for their main banking, and most people still have their payroll paid into the CMA 9. So we're still right at the start of a big change. The catalyst is going to be a new UK challenger bank who challenges the way that the market works and doesn't copy it. Because the issue that we've got today is we've got lots of new entrants, which is great, fully behind innovation and entrepreneurship. But sometimes you've got to be brave and change the market. And somebody needs to be brave and change the market. In my opinion, and I might be wrong, nobody's done that yet.
Well, you've mentioned in your introduction RTGS.
Yeah.
So the Bank of England governor referred to it as the backbone of every payment in the UK. Sounds pretty dramatic. So what is RTGS?
Right, on a domestic basis, like within the United Kingdom, RTGS stands for real-time gross settlement. So it's the ability for payments to be made with settlement finality pretty much instantaneously. In exactly the same way as if I gave you a £10 note for a debt I owed to you, that completes the transaction instantaneously. In the UK, we've had faster payments, we've got CHAP systems and whatever, and they're moving towards, hopefully, a full, unlimited 24/7/365 capability. The most advanced RTGS system that's operating at the moment is in Australia, where it's 6-second turnaround, 7 days a week. And there are a number of countries around the world now that are starting to embrace the way that domestic settlement systems work and the benefits that they give to businesses and consumers. Because if you make a payment, it'd be really nice to know that it's arrived. And the irony today is that no bank in the world gives its customer service level on anything to do with a payment in flight. It will happen when it happens. What we've done is taken a step back from looking at the domestic payment infrastructure and said, well, hang on, if all of this work's going on domestically, who's dealing with connecting all of these things together globally and creating a thing known as atomic settlement? Atomic settlement is where you can settle and move transactions in microseconds globally. Today we're doing it in about 300 milliseconds, New York to Sydney. What this does is if we plug in the domestic RTGS systems or national banks, we're agnostic on this, it allows those banks to get access to high-speed technology that was only been available to them really through the course of the last 9 months. It's right up at the cutting edge in relation to what technology allows us to do. And so the approach that we've taken is to change the marketplace, build in a whole range of new ways that transactions are moved, because interbank liquidity is invisible. Regulators don't know what it is, they have an idea, they don't know what it is, but that's on a domestic basis. On an international basis, it's all based on trust. And so what we've done is develop some patent pending technology which allows us to see liquidity in real time, match it, change its integrity, i.e. its ownership, and fulfill a transaction for a bank in ultra quick time, 7 days a week. We go into pilot for that in June, about 4 months away. Tonight I'm going to show some UI which nobody's ever seen, so you guys are the first in the world outside our little gang to have seen this stuff. You'd have to see it first, but anyway. And we're on a journey. We start in June with our pilots, with the G7, and we work our way through to the G50 by Christmas, and we'll know whether this works. We think it will. Technically it will, but there's a huge number of operational issues, implementation issues and challenges that we need to work through. So we will start and do that.
Ambitious. Nick Ogden, the man of change.
Thank you.
Love it. Well, one last question. So where do you see the importance of evenings like tonight when we talk about open banking, we talk about banking as a platform, and now a lot of us are talking about open finance, open data. So how can we support open banking adoption and what's now becoming open finance?
I think open banking adoption is going to come, but it's going to be slower than everybody thinks. And it needs some more change from where I'm sitting anyway, and it needs something to drive what's in it for me, for Mrs. Smith of 3 Acacia Gardens. Your typical D consumer who you need to make something work properly. And I think there's been a lot of great projects, a lot of innovation, a lot of work going on at the moment. Now we need to bed some of that down, move it forward, and actually start, I think, a market education exercise, which again, going back to the point I made at the beginning in relation to the term open banking, I'm personally not convinced that open banking is the brand that Saatchi & Saatchi or somebody else would have put around this. If you'd gone along to and say, we want to move a market, we want to change consumer behavior and business behavior, we want to give them choice, we want to give them trust and everything else, what should we call it? I'm just not convinced. I'm not a marketing guy or a brand guy I'm not convinced that the two words we've got are the right words for what we're trying to do.
The world needs change or something like that. Change, big change. Well, thank you very much, Nick. Really appreciate your time, and I really look forward to our panel tonight. Thank you so much.
So my pleasure. Thank you very much.